If you clicked on this video, then you probably want to know how to hack group chats or a live chat that you see on almost any web application these days. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. But before we go ahead and actually try hacking some live chats, it is probably going to be useful for you to know exactly how these work on the back end. So we're going to take a look at how WebSockets work, what they are, and how they differ from, say, a REST API. So let's go ahead and check this out. We have a basic little chat application slide that I made right here. If we are John and we want to say hello to Jane, we can go ahead and say hello, and we have the server over here. So we would make a post request. We're going to post hello to our chat group, and it would get sent to the server, and then it would get sent over to Jane, and it's going to look like this. We say hello, and our post request is posting to the server, and then the server is going to send it over to Jane. So it pops up hello over here on her side of the chat. We all know how this works. She says, "Hey John," it goes to the server, and then it comes back over to us. So we all understand basically how this works, but we need to keep on going. A REST API refreshes every 5 seconds. So if we were inside of this conversation right here and we were using a REST API, our application would refresh and it would make a GET request over here to the server, and the server would say nothing has been sent yet, and then it would wait 5 more seconds and it would make another GET request and wait 5 seconds, make another GET request. And you can make it something other than 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 second. But you're going to have these requests, these GET requests coming from John and from Jane. And if you have 5,000 chat rooms, you're going to have a lot of GET requests coming all the time to the server saying that this chat room or this specific live chat is making a GET request every 5 seconds. And you can see that it's using a lot of unnecessary resources. So that is how the REST API is going to be working. But we have a WebSocket, which is what we're going to be looking at today. So we have the WebSocket, and what it does is we have the server, and then it's going to have this hidden connection over here, which is going to be our WebSocket. And anytime a message gets sent, so that way it doesn't have to refresh, say a message gets sent from chat room 1, it's going to come to the server. It's going to come over here to say our hidden connections. This is just a visual for us. We're going to have our hidden connections, our WebSocket over here, and it's going to look for chat room 1 where this came from. It's going to automatically send that message to everyone who is inside of this chat. And so that's how this little connection is going to work. But what we want to do is try and access chat room 2, chat room 3, and chat room 4. So if we can attack this hidden connection or this WebSocket over here, we can start looking at conversations that are going on outside of ours inside of chat room 1. So we're going to start out with some pretty simple exploits just within a live chat, and then we're going to actually look at something like this. How can we get access to chats that we're not supposed to have access to and get this hidden connection to respond to us every time something happens over here inside of the WebSocket? And this can be kind of challenging because inside of Burp we're not actually able to see all of these requests. So let's go ahead and check this out. We're going to be on PortSwigger, and we're going to be looking at the WebSockets right here. We're going to do all 3 of these, and this one is the one where we're really going to get to see this happen right here. So we're going to do these first 2. They're really simple, but it is a good way to get warmed up to this third exercise right here. So we can go ahead and open this up, close that. We can access the lab. It's going to tell us the online shop has a live chat feature implemented using WebSockets, and we're going to solve the lab by triggering a cross-site scripting. So this is pretty simple, and this second one right here is also going to be a cross-site scripting too. So we're going to do the same thing, only it says that it has a XSS filter. So we'll go ahead and check this out. If we come over to the live feature, we can tell that we're connected to a bot or another person on the other side. And if we send something, it's going to send us a request. So what we can do is come to Burp. We can go to WebSocket history right here, and you can actually see what is happening. Because I'm only connected to this one WebSocket, we don't have a bunch of stuff popping up here, and you can see the messages being sent right here. This was the typing feature, and then we get our reply. So this is what the WebSocket looks like. If we actually come over to intercept, we can intercept this, and you're going to see this is what this WebSocket connection looks like, and we can forward these, and you're going to see that we send this right here, and it says it's typing. And we'll actually mess around with some of those here in just a minute. But we're supposed to get a cross-site scripting to pop. So You can go out to GitHub and just type in something like common cross-site scripting payloads. And I think it looks like I have shown you this before. We have these payloads right here. You can scroll down and just pick one of these. These are probably the most common type right here. This is probably one of the most common that you're going to see. I don't like the way that looks, so we'll copy it and then we'll edit this. We can come back over to our WebSocket history. And let's see, this is what we sent. Where's our sent message? We have this sent message right here. So what we'll do is we could send this to repeater, and I think this will work from over here as well. We can say image source, and we're gonna say equals, and then usually you can put anything in here because we want that to fail, and then it's gonna prompt an 8. Let's send this and see if it works. Let's come back over to our lab, and it says that it is solved. So we can do that from repeater. If you didn't want to do that from repeater, you could just type something in here like this, and we could go to our proxy, intercept, and turn it on, and then we can send it, and you could have changed it from right here as well, and then sent it. And it is telling us this is what we're posting, and then it would go ahead and post it again, and it's gonna work. So that is the first one. That's a couple of different ways to try and hack the WebSocket that is being sent back and forth over here in repeater. So we can go ahead and check out the second one. And if you remember, the second one tells us that it has some like aggressive filter. We'll go ahead and close that, which it says that this is a practitioner, but I don't really think it's going to be that hard. The third one I think might be hard for you to understand if this is your first time ever looking at WebSockets, because you kind of have to understand all of this and what is happening. So if you don't understand this, I would say watch this video on this third one, us do this exercise, and then come back and re-look at this, and then maybe watch this one more time, and it'll make sense. It's really not as complicated as this little diagram makes it out to look. So we can come back over to our live chat. What we're going to do is we're just going to paste in our payload that we have right here, and I'm going to just copy this because I'm sure we're going to need it again. And if we intercept this, we can see what the filtering looks like. So it looks like it's going to do some filtering like this, so it gets rid of some bad characters. I accidentally have that in there, and let's see what happens if we just actually change this. What happens if we just copy this, paste this in, make that look right, and forward that? We can turn intercept off. It tells us the chat is ended. And if we come back to live chat, does it reload for us? It does reload for us. So there is some filtering in here. So if we just come in here, let's see what happens. You have seen me do this before. This is like really basic. If we just said, like, we add this capital M, you could add like a capital N to our message that we sent. We'll send this over to repeater and see if we can mess with this just a little bit. I see that we didn't have this source right here, so that might have been our problem. Let's see that. It says it's broken, but it doesn't pop the cross-site scripting therefore. So I'm going to delete this, try and send this again. Tells us that it doesn't work. So let's come back over here one more time. Okay, so it is possible that our message that is being sent is being filtered out. So I think what we can do is just use a different payload and then reconnect our WebSocket. So we'll send this to repeater. We will copy all of this, put our payload back in here, and let's try a different payload. So we got our source. Let's try an alert with our backslashes instead of our quotes, because we are able to see over here that it is filtering some of our bad characters. So let's try something a little different, and let's reconnect. Let's send this, see what happens. And it says we have solved it. So with just changing some of these characters, and that we can see that it was filtering our bad characters, we can just use some different characters and see what is going on. If I really wanted to know what characters this was changing, what I would do is I would just come to this message box and I would just type in every bad character that you could find. I may go out to GitHub and grab some bad characters in order to see what exactly it is changing and what it isn't, and then craft my payload off of that. So now we can go to this third lab. So we'll close that, open up the third lab. And this one is going to be a little more challenging here for us. So it says the online shop has a live chat feature, and to solve the lab, we need to use the exploit server, which means you're going to need to use Burp Collaborator. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can access chats outside of our own. So we'll go over to the live chat feature, and we are brought back here again. So this time it tells us we want to exfiltrate the victim's chat history. So we want the chat history off of the server. So we're going to end up using this exploit server over here. We have to craft a payload. The cool thing is, if you had no idea what you were doing and you're reading the CTF, and maybe outside of a CTF you want to try something like this, we know we're doing a cross-site WebSocket hijacking. So let's just copy this. I'm not actually sure what's going to pop up because I haven't Googled this before. And we could just say payload, and we don't like the way that looks. So we can just say cross-site website. What we want is a GitHub page. We want a GitHub page. So we'll type in GitHub, and payloads all the things is always really great. Right here is a script that we want, and I actually have not tried the script, so hopefully it works for us. But payloads all the things is a great place to go. Their stuff is really great. So we can come over here. So the way this is going to work, we're going to walk through this. We have this WebSocket right here. So we want the vulnerable page, which is going to be this right here. See how we have this chat? This is our vulnerable chat. So if we were to try and do this on a live target, we're going to grab this URL right here. So that way we can try and grab the history off of this specific chat. So we don't need the HTTPS because we're going to use this WebSockets secure right here. There is a WebSockets like this, and then there's WebSockets secure. I'm pretty sure that's what the SS stands for. You can correct me in the comments below. So we'll paste that in, and then it's going to open, it's going to start a function, it's going to add an event, it's going to send hello, so that way we can get the data. It's got to make a request to the server, which is then going to grab the information back for us. And on the message, it's going to fetch this, and it's going to send it to a server that we set up. And so either you're going to need to set up your own server, or you can come over to Burp and you can go to Collaborator, get started, copy to clipboard, and this is going to be our server right here that we're going to be able to use, and it's going to send the information to Collaborator rather than having to set up our own DNS server. So if we deliver this to the victim, I believe we can come over here, send some information, get it to do something, come back over to Collaborator.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
All right, after a little bit of research, I have found that we actually need to modify our script in order to get this to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this just like we did previously. We come to a Collaborator, we copy that to our clipboard, we paste this in right here. But what we have to do is our event right here that we're trying to get this right here, start event, when we want our data. To delete this, we're going to add in a comma, and we're going to need to say body like this. So we grab the body of the event. We can delete the comma, and this gets pasted inside here. We're going to need a comma in order to get this to work. Then we are going to have to add in a post. We want to add in a method, and our method is going to be post. So we'll say method, and then we'll go back in here, post, and then we'll need a comma and a space like this. And now this looks good here, but this hello right here, when it says it's going to open up the function to start the event, and then it's going to send hello. What I found over here inside of, we'll go proxy, this is where the connection is being sent. So this is their reply. This is us making a post of ADSF. And then we go up far enough, we hit this ready right here. So we need to add this ready into our payload right here. So we can say ready, and we will need to add in the actual page right here. So we'll copy all of this just like we did previously. We'll come back over to the exploit server, and we will paste this in right here. Now, if we deliver this and we don't have any typos, and we go to collaborator and we click our little pull now button, we now get the information back that we needed. And if we click on the request to a collaborator, we can scroll through these and look through here and see what we have. This information, it says I forgot my password, and where is the information that we are looking for? Right here. This is going to be the user, is going to be Carlos, and we're going to have, it looks like this is going to be the password. And what we would need to do to solve this specific CTF is come back and log in to that user. So that is how you go about hacking WebSockets and getting information that you shouldn't be able to have access to. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. If this wasn't clear enough, maybe I can go back and try and explain what I missed or you're having questions on. So please let me know down in the comments, and thanks for watching.